Hi. Wow. Okay. I've been really looking forward to making this video. Um how are you guys doing? Today is February 28th, 2025. It's currently 11:49 p.m. and today makes 4 weeks or 1 month. It's a really short month, but it's still a month since I quit smoking weed. And since I started this journey, I've been talking to a lot of different people about it, and there were a lot of people that showed a lot of interest in my journey. What made me want to quit smoking weed, what it was like, how I did it. Um, People telling me their own experiences as well for people who have already quit smoking weed. So I wanted to make this video because um, when I was considering going about quitting weed, I tried to find motivation and inspiration on YouTube myself, and I just felt like there wasn't anybody who really could relate to my experience or within my own demographic, really testifying on their experiences. It was a lot of people from different places or just raised differently, that I just felt like I couldn't relate to their experience and they probably wouldn't be able to relate to my experience. So I know that there's a lot of people who would have some interest in what I have to say on this. Um, I broke it down into some topics. So this is like I'm new to the YouTube stuff, guys. I don't really know how to go about editing a video. I'm recording on my iPhone, so bear with me. One day I'll be able to have it, marked out where you can see exactly the timeline of everything I'm going to talk about in this video, but now's not the time. Today's not the day. So I really hope that you stick with me, and I'll try to not make it too long, but I really want to go into detail about it because I don't want to shortcut anybody. Like this is stuff that I just feel like I really want to put it all on the line, right? And like I said, this is only 4 weeks in for me. I'm sure that in a month, another month, I might have some new ideas or new opinions to share. But so far, I made 5 bullet notes in my little notebook here that I wanted to address. So the first one is really like, why did I want to quit? Um, before I was quitting, like before I quit smoking weed, how much did I smoke? Stuff like that. The second bullet note that I have here is my weaning process. So I did not just go directly cold turkey from the amount that I usually smoked to quitting overnight. I weaned myself off, and in this section I'll talk about why I feel like that helped me a lot. After that, I'm going to talk about my first week going cold turkey, or my first week that I quit and stopped smoking weed. That was the first week of February. So the last time that I smoked weed was on January 31st. So the first week after that. And then the fourth bullet note that I have here is when it started getting better. So around what point did I feel like it started to get easier and I felt like the hardest parts were gone. And my fifth topic that I'm gonna get into is my hopes for the future. Like, I feel like this is a good point where I'm at now, and a lot of people keep asking me like, what is the goal for this? Like, how long are you gonna take a break for? So I'll be getting to that towards the end of this video. So I wanted to start off with why did I want to quit and how long have I been feeling this way? I can earliest recall feeling like, I wonder what it would be like if I didn't smoke weed all the time. Probably sometime in my early 20s. I turned 25 this past December, and I've been smoking weed every single day since I was 15 years old. So that's about a decade of smoking weed. Um, I've never had any reason to quit or been forced to quit for any drug test for a job. I've never been pregnant. I've never been incarcerated, and with everyone that I've spoken to that did quit for some reason, those were usually reasons that forced them to quit, and I'd never been faced with any of those reasons, so I never quit because I was doing just fine, with smoking weed. I also find that people who started smoking weed a little later on in life, like at 20 years old or older, find it easier to just quit it. And I definitely feel like people who can relate to me, where I started smoking very regularly around sophomore year of high school, it just becomes a way of life that is extremely difficult to release and to change that habit. So I think sometime in my 20s, I really was like wondering what my full potential could be like if I didn't smoke weed. And I'm not saying that weed is a bad thing by any means. I'm not saying that marijuana is bad. Of course, we know that it has its medicinal effects, but I think that it's when you use that as a tool that is, can be to benefit, as opposed to being completely dependent on it. It's no longer going to have its effects anymore because your body's going to get used to it. So that's why I wanted to quit. I wanted to know my full potential. I wanted to, as an adult, get to know myself. Like, I felt like I didn't know who I was as an adult, like sober. Like, what is my brain actually like when I'm not sedating myself? How long was I feeling that way? Yeah, at least the last 3 years. I think I tried to go cold turkey in 2023 from smoking like multiple joints a day to just overnight quitting. And I completely flopped by like day 5 or 6. I was completely overwhelmed by the withdrawal symptoms, and I ended up smoking again for another year and a half, all the way up until recently. What were my smoking habits? For me personally, and I think that this is a topic that like everybody's different, and I know that I might have maybe had like a little bit of an upper hand with this, right? Or like I don't know if that's the term, but I really never was like into smoking tobacco products. I never was too heavily into the backwoods or grabba. I quit smoking grabba way back in like 2021 because it used to make me feel sick. It used to make me feel nauseous. I didn't like that head high feeling. The backwoods also made me feel that type of way. Here and there, recently, I would sometimes smoke like the cleaner leaf woods, like the slap woods or the loose leaves, or like those type of things. But I really was never too hooked on that, and I wasn't smoking those every day. All everybody who knows me knows that I used to smoke vegan joints, which is like just papers and weed. And I would smoke every day, multiple times a day. I would say I was probably smoking an eighth a day. Also, I was really big on concentrates for a while, like dabs, which is literally the purest form of THC. And I was super into that as well. But I do think that it was an upper hand slightly, in a sense that I wasn't also having to quit smoking tobacco or quit the grabba. Like, that's like a double whammy. And I know that a lot of my friends experienced that. Um, so I already like dealt with that a long time ago. I just didn't really personally like the way that I felt smoking the woods or the tobacco. So I was really only quitting the weed. I was only quitting THC, cannabis, marijuana. What were the negatives of smoking to me? There were very few, right? Like, I could fall asleep. I felt relaxed. Um, some of the things that I realized that over time that to me felt as though it came to a point where they felt negative, was like when I would feel hunger, I would smoke. And then by the time I rolled up and smoked and everything, I wasn't hungry anymore. Or I just put it past my mind. I used to say I ate weed. What'd you eat for breakfast? Weed. Like, because I was using it to fill my craving. Um Also, the smell never bothered me, but it started to get annoying when other people would, when I would just be going about my business and like somebody's like, oh, ha ha ha, you smoking that, ha ha ha, yeah. Cause I just like, just be like, yo, mind your business. But you how you gonna tell somebody to mind your business when you walk in and smelling like the trap house? You know what I mean? Like, so that got annoying to me after a while. Yeah, feeling like just the dependency was negative to me. The amount of time in my day that went towards that, like, I'm noticing that, I could be doing something else, but instead I'm spending 45 minutes rolling up and laying on my ass and smoking. You know what I mean? That to me felt like a negative, because I was like, I want to be doing something more productive with my time. And then, like I said, I turned 25. So, there's this whole idea that when you turn 25, you get your frontal lobe update. Your frontal lobe is finally, at its most developed. And I just had I just didn't want to feel like, stoner girl for life. Not saying that after 25 you can't reform yourself, but I was like, I just was feeling like, yeah, something's got to give, and now's the time, because I didn't want to go into the second half of my 20s that way. So that's kind of the bullet notes that I have for my first, you know, pre-quitting topic. For my second bullet note, I said it has to do with my weaning process, right? So I did not go cold turkey from the amount that I was smoking every day to overnight not smoking anymore. I tried that in 2023 and I failed miserably, okay? Because I had terrible nightmares. My anxiety was like absolutely overwhelming. I mean, I was also going through things at that time that were overwhelming me emotionally that didn't help with that. So that was a big flop for me personally. And I do know people that did exactly that and had the self-discipline to get through that, but it didn't work for me. So what I did was I weaned myself off of smoking over the course of 6 weeks. My birthday is December 16th. So around that time, I had a little bit of weed left, and I had kind of planned it out that week so that on my birthday, I would run out of weed. Like, I'm going to smoke on my birthday, and that's going to be the end of it. I'm not going to have any more weed. And I stopped buying weed. I was literally like, I'm not spending any more money on weed. I think it helps also that my birthday is right around New Year's. So there's always this element every time I have a birthday of like, okay, what are my resolutions for this new age, this new year? And I was like, I'm not gonna spend any more money on weed. So that was the first step. And I'm a tattoo artist. It doesn't help that sometimes my clients want to smoke weed, or they want me to smoke weed because they're like, oh yeah, we need your creative juices flowing. Or like, because I was smoking for so long, I would accept weed as tips for a long time. And because I was smoking weed for so long, everybody knew that I smoked weed. I got this weed pillow right here. Like, I would accept weed as tips for work. So even though I stopped buying weed after my birthday, which I really thought that on my birthday I would go cold turkey, it didn't end up working like that. I smoked the very next day with a friend, and even though I ran out of weed, a couple of days later somebody gave me an eighth. I stretched it out though. And there was a couple of times where clients gave me weed. And I realized, like, damn, that's when I realized, like, yo, like, it ain't even me buying the shit. Like, it's like all around me. Like, I'm surrounded by it. Like, tips and tricks. So a lot of people have been asking me, like, what tips or what techniques or what tricks did you have for quitting? And it was baby steps, yo. Like, I tried not to think of it as such a grand scheme of things. And that's kind of how I felt when I would think about, like, oh yeah, tomorrow I'm going cold turkey and I'm not going to smoke. I like this idea of celebrating every tiny victory, right? So that, to me, that meant like every tiny thing that I did towards quitting felt like a win. I started off by setting myself small disciplines, right? The first one that I can recall setting around the end of December was like, all right, I'm not going to wake and bake anymore. Like, I usually I always have my first client of the day at 12 o'clock noon. That's the time I start my work. And before that, I would smoke. As soon as I woke up, I had something rolled up, ready to light. And I just feel like it made my day feel foggy and groggy off rip. Like, I just don't even feel like I even get to fully wake up when the first thing I do when I will wake up is smoke. I just feel like it kept me like kind of sleepy all day. So the first rule that I set for myself was I'm not going to smoke before I tattoo, before my client comes in. And every time that I succeeded with that, I felt like I won, right? That's fine. Maybe my client comes and halfway through the tattoo around, 4 or 5 o'clock, they want to smoke or something, or maybe I'm going to hit my joint. Okay, that's fine. You know what I mean? It's okay. I got through the first half of the day without it. So that was the first, like, celebrate every tiny victory. Like, okay, that was a good success. Then I started adding disciplines, like little things, like little mini, it was like a game to me. It was like, okay, boom, I did that. Now let's see if I could go the whole day without smoking until 7 p.m. Right? I want to go the whole day without smoking until the sun goes down. um and that was a challenge that I had. And then I could feel like, okay, now I'm only smoking at night. Now I'm only smoking to wind down as opposed to just being high all day. Easier said than done, but it really wasn't that hard. You know what I mean? It really wasn't that hard. I'd find other things to do to occupy myself, and then I'd look forward to it. Like, okay, great. I can't wait till 8 o'clock when I can finally relax and wind down, take my shower, and smoke. You know, and I did that for a few weeks. Maybe 2 weeks that I did that. Then I up it a little bit, and I'm like, okay, now I'm only gonna smoke every other day at nighttime. I'm not gonna smoke every single night before bed. I'm only gonna smoke every other night. And I did that for a week or two. Then I upped it and I said, okay, I'm not gonna smoke by myself at all. Like in my house, if I'm alone, I'm not gonna smoke. So then I was eventually, now I'm only smoking around friends, right? Which also during this time, I kind of pulled back a little bit from being in certain environments or putting myself in situations where I already know like that 7 blunts are going to be passed to me. I kind of withdrew from that. So it would be like I'm in an intimate setting with a friend, like I'm one on one with my friend, um, and we'll smoke. But like I'm also going to know my limit, and that wasn't every single day that I was being surrounded by my friends or linking up with people. So that was the next step. Um and yeah, that was pretty much it. You gotta know your own king. Like you gotta know your own shit. Like you gotta know your own schedule. You gotta know what makes you tick. You have to, in order to do this, you have to figure out like, when do I smoke the most, when do I smoke the least, and work off of that. And that's going to be different for everybody. So me weaning myself off was over the course of 6 weeks, from my birthday December 16th until the last day that I smoked, which was January 31st. And yeah, just not going places where I already know that they're not going to want to do nothing other than smoke. Like I'm already knowing that when I go over there, all we do is smoke. I'm just going to avoid that completely right now, find something else to do or stay home like by myself. Like, that's, you got to learn how to be with yourself too. And that's a whole separate thing from the weed, but might as well, two birds, one stone, right? So yeah, the company you keep. Finding other things to occupy myself with. I bought a coloring book because I was like, yo, what did I do? What did I used to do before I ever started smoking, right? What type of shit did I do when I was 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 to occupy myself? And sorry, I was just checking to make sure the camera's still rolling. I used to draw a lot. So I bought myself a coloring book and some Crayola crayons. And when I would have the urge to smoke by myself, I'll be like, you know what? I'm gonna color one whole page of this coloring book right now, and then by the time I'm done, I'll figure it out from there. Once I finish this coloring book page, then I'll see if I'm still gonna smoke, or maybe I'll be more sleepy and I could just fall asleep. I don't think that I experienced really too much issues having to do with appetite yet at that point. Um, because I don't feel like the withdrawal started that crazy, but I definitely was having issues falling asleep even when I was, cutting down slowly by only smoking every other day or something like that. Like I still definitely was like, okay, it's a little harder to sleep. Um, what else? Writing, I'm a creative person. I write music, I write poetry. Going outside, exercise. I would feel the urge to smoke, and I had the weed because I think having the weed also helped, because I think that if I didn't have any weed, I would be so compelled to hit somebody up and buy some, because it's just like, you're not finna tell me that I can't get it. And by you, I don't know who I mean by that, maybe me. So I think that it was just like having it there, knowing that it's in my house and that I could smoke it, and that I'm challenging myself to not. Like, it's like, you don't have the power over me, I have the power over you. Let me take a walk around the block real quick. Let me just go outside. I'm gonna take a 10-15 minute walk. and then I'm gonna come back inside and sit down and do something with myself. You know what I mean? Like figure out something to do. Snacking also. So for me personally, and this is not gonna apply to everyone, but I have issues with maintaining my weight because I am just naturally under, like I fall into the low end of BMI. Um, some people struggle with their weight in other ways where they'll get heavy faster or they'll, you know, gain weight very fast. I'm the exact opposite, and for many many years I basically completely struggled to stay above 100 pounds, and I pretty much stayed around 100 to 103 pounds for a really long time. So I started just little things. I liked fidgety snacks, like pistachios were great. I love pistachios. I got really big on like charcuterie boards because it's just little things to do with my hands. I'm like a fidgety girl. Like I like to like play with my food. Like, and I think that a lot of the addiction for me with smoking weed was definitely like a oral fixation, which means like I just need something to do with my mouth. Pause. Like, you know what I mean? Like I just need like something to do. Some people would, you know, they find it easy to like, I don't know, chew on gum or like something like that. Um I tried not to overcompensate with the nicotine vaping, which I have not quit yet. But also, I know that my relationship with the nicotine vape is really not as intense as some of the other people I know who need their vape all day. Me, I actually only vape at night when I'm ready to go to sleep. And I've always kind of been that way about it. So I do still smoke the vape, but I definitely tried not to compensate for the oral fixation of wanting to smoke by smoking my vape in the daytime because I was never even into doing that anyway. So I wasn't going to start then. So that was the 6 weeks. Okay, that was my 6 weeks weaning process, setting little disciplines, giving myself small goals, and celebrating my win, right? Celebrating my win. Like, I tell somebody, like, yeah, I didn't smoke all day today. And they'd be like, all right, bitch. And she's like, well, fuck you. Like, you know what I mean? I'm proud of today because I didn't smoke all day today. Like, and if you're surrounded by people who are just like, okay, bitch, then cut them motherfuckers off because that's the wrong energy. You need to be with the type of friends that are gonna be like, yay! Okay? Surround yourself with good energy. And if you're surrounded by bad energy, that's a whole nother thing you need to resolve. Okay, so my third bullet note, the first week cold turkey. Now, a lot of people have been talking to me about this. You know, I'm getting a lot of people hitting me up about this because they're here right now, right? They're like, oh my God, today's my fucking day 5. I can't eat, I can't sleep, and I'm about to smack the shit out of somebody. This was definitely the roughest point. And I can imagine that it's rougher if you didn't wean yourself off. Like if you didn't like spend 6 weeks trying to wean yourself off and you just went from smoking 3 blunts yesterday to like now you're not smoking any weed and today's your day 5, it's gonna be rough. Okay. And even with me weaning myself off, it was rough. The night before I went cold turkey, I went out with a bang, right? I went out to down to the Ybor. I got lit, I got drunk, I got high, and I fucking felt like ass. I literally woke up at 8 o'clock in the morning to throw up because I mean, granted, it was probably mostly the alcohol, but also at that point, I really hadn't been smoking a lot of weed up until that night, and I smoked that day. Like I smoked that night, and I drank that night. And Saturday, I felt like disgusting garbage. I felt like fucking the worst, miserable, just disgusting. Um, and I was like, this is the end. This is the end. Like I'm cutting it, right? Cutting it completely. Um, so what were the symptoms that I was dealing with the first week? I have here irritability. Like I was definitely like on edge, like motherfuckers were on eggshells around me. Like any little thing could piss me off and blow my day. Like it was definitely like that. No appetite. This was definitely got super intense for me around days like 3, 4, 5, 6. I remember being like hungry, but like eating felt like I was chewing rocks. Like it just felt like I was swallowing dirt. Like I had like no appetite. Like there was no craving for anything in particular. Uh, I would feel hungry, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna eat tacos. I'll finally get the tacos in front of my face, and I couldn't eat it. It was just like not even hungry no more. Um, Dreams. This was a big one for me because this was one that I was actually really looking forward to. Um, Smoking weed, you don't dream, bro. And if you dream, the second you open your eyes is gone. You don't remember that shit because marijuana affects your REM sleep. So if you smoke very regularly every single day, tell me right now that you have vivid dreams. I'll be very shocked. But I started getting my dreams back definitely within the first week or two. And I experienced this in 2023 when I tried to go cold turkey, but it was way too intense. Like I was having like night terrors, like waking up in drenched in sweat because I was having bad, terrible nightmares. And I'm very grateful that I haven't had any terrible nightmares yet. I've had some very colorful, flagrant, dreams that were like strange, but nothing like terrifying like I experienced in 2023. Delirious. I definitely was delirious because my sleep was fucked up. So even though I was having dreams when I did sleep, there was nights where like I'd be tired as hell and I couldn't fall asleep until 6 o'clock in the morning. And then I had somewhere to be. I had to get up in 2 hours or 3 hours. So I definitely was having like just delirious. And for me personally, I'm funny as hell when I'm delirious. I start like twirling, bro. I don't even know how to explain it. I'm funny as hell. I'll be joking around, but then I'd be like tired as fuck. Like I'm just delirious. I don't know. If you need to look up that word, look it up. Heightened anxiety. I'll be nervous over nothing. Like nothing even happened, and I just felt like my heart was just like I was anticipating something bad happening, and it would be impossible for me to de-escalate. Like it was like really difficult for me to relax myself. So I definitely was feeling heightened anxiety. Loneliness. I think this is just because I was taking that time, like that first week especially, knowing damn well that I was super irritable and delirious and anxious. I really wasn't surrounding myself with people. And I also feel like my friends, kind of knew what I was going through and knew that I would tell them like, yo, I'm honestly like not feeling good today, or like I'm really sensitive today. Like if something tries me, I'm going to fucking crash out. And so I think that my friends kind of withdrew from me a little bit too, because they didn't want, to trigger me to smoke, or also they just, I just had to ride that out myself. I knew that I had to ride that out myself. I feel like the people closest to me also just kind of knew like, you got to ride that out yourself, but also were offering me support, but not like in a hands-on, in my face way, because I needed to deal with it on my own. Can't fall asleep, can't stay asleep. Yeah, couldn't fall asleep. Might be hours and hours until I fall asleep. And then when I did finally fall asleep, I'm waking up in the middle of the night, like for nothing, to pee, like couldn't go back to sleep. Definitely that was the case for like, I want to say the first week or two, where those things were really difficult. So yeah, that was the hardest part. Straight up, that was the hardest part. But I will say that I definitely did experience like, in that first 2 weeks, I already felt more creative. I already, I was kind of writing down my dreams. Like I kept a notepad next to my bed when I slept, and I was trying to write down my dreams. And I think the fact that I was taking myself off of my baseline, right, which was high. My baseline was being high. Now I'm not high anymore, and I feel like that was stimulating my brain. And I think that that's what people like when people say like, "Oh, smoking weed gets you more creative." I don't find that to be the case. I think that that's only applicable if you're sober usually. Like if you're usually sober and then you smoke weed, obviously your brain is in a different state than you're used to. So it's going to be doing different shit than you're used to experiencing. So I feel like the opposite is true. If you're used to smoking weed every day and your brain is there high, right? Every day, constantly, then when you're not there anymore, your brain is going to start behaving in ways that is new to you, right? That you're not used to. So I feel like that's the whole thing, is like, it's not just getting high that's going to make you more creative. It's taking yourself off of your baseline, right? That's with any substance too. Like if you're constantly sober and then you try acid, you're going to be seeing, you're going to think things that you don't usually think. And I don't recommend this to anybody at all, but theoretically, I would think that if you, let's say, took acid every day, right? or shrooms. Let's do something less intense. Let's say you take shrooms every fucking day, um, and then all of a sudden you stop taking your shrooms, your brain is gonna start acting different. I think that's with anything. So that was my first week or two without smoking weed. It was pretty rough. It was really rough. Like, I'm not gonna lie. And it's kind of crazy to think about now, like in hindsight, like, wow, that was really rough. And I'm not experiencing that now. That was what kept holding me. Like, I kept like saying, like, I have to get through the withdrawal. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's two ways to stop feeling like this. There's only two ways. Either ride it out until I'm not feeling it anymore, because eventually I will level out, or get high. That was the only two options. It's the only two ways that you're not going to feel like that anymore. One of them is instant gratification, and one of them is really rewarding in the long run, right? And I was like, I'm in it for the long run. I'm tired of this instant gratification shit. I'm tired of smoking just to feel better right now. I'm tired of smoking so I can eat dinner. I'm tired of smoking so I can fall asleep. I'm over the instant gratification. I'm going to ride this shit out until I'm not experiencing it anymore. So my bullet note number 4, when it started getting better. It definitely started getting better after the second week. And what have I experienced since then? I feel like more in touch with my spirituality. I mean, I've been kind of on this journey with my spirituality for a few months now. Even before I really quit smoking the weed, I want to say maybe around the time that I turned 25, or a little bit before then, leading up to that, because I just knew like 25 is such a milestone marker. And I know that some of you guys are younger than 25 watching this. Some of you guys are well older than 25. But for me, I started really just getting in tune with that around that time that I really started thinking about quitting the weed. Creativity. My writing has been different. You know, I'm thinking outside the box in ways that I never really thought before, because my brain is doing different things now. You know, I'm seeing the world from a different perspective now, honestly. Like, I'm seeing how much everybody else is dependent on the weed, or like, you know, how it benefits certain people, and also how it's holding some people back, because I'm seeing that that was the case for me too. You know what I mean? Connectedness. This is part of the spirituality thing. I think I'm just starting to see myself in others, or see others in me, and realizing that we're all the same thing. I'm if you want to get into it, this channel, right? I be chatting on my spirituality shit, right? And I was talking in another video about how we're all collective consciousness. Like, I started to just not feel so different from everybody else, even though it's hard, because now I'm going through something, or I'm putting myself through something that not really anybody close to me is going through with me. But you know, I just started to notice myself in other people's behavior, because it's like, oh yeah, I definitely used to do that, or like, oh yeah, that's definitely some shit I would have did, or would still do given the right circumstances. I think I just became more aware, like, we're not all that different from each other, you know. And realizing that there were situations that I might have judged people for in the past, that it's like, no, that's part of me too. When one way or another, like somewhere deep down, I'm like, we're all the same. You know what I mean? Or even circumstances where like I thought was completely normal and wouldn't have thought twice about, that now I'm like, maybe something has to give there with that. And just realizing, like, not to judge people for that, because even though I'm having this realization now, I didn't have that realization at one point. I was in exactly their shoes. Less groggy and foggy. Yeah, I'm not as sleepy in the daytime. I was definitely having a couple weeks where I wanted to take naps, but I think that was just because I was trying to level out my sleep patterns. I do feel a lot more energetic. Not that I ever had energy problems, but I'm more enthusiastic. Like, I'm so hyped for shit. Like, I'm like looking forward to everything. I've always been big on optimism. I'm not really a negative person, a nihilistic person, a pessimistic person. I try to be very mindful of the way I speak and the the message that I'm putting out, even though sometimes I sound really aggressive. Um, and I'm just really proud of myself. Yeah, I'm really proud of myself. That's a good thing. That's a positive. I just started feeling better that every day that goes on. I'm like, yo, you're still doing this shit. Like, you can do this. Like, you really that nigga. Like, you really did that shit. Um, so that was good. New friends. You know, when I started like trying to hang out with different people that I normally would hang out with. You know, because it was like, all right, I'm realizing that my friends who I still love very deeply, maybe their current lifestyle doesn't align with the journey that I'm on at this moment. Let me try to link up with some people who've done this already or gone through similar things, or even people who maybe still smoke weed, but they're more in tune with like the person that I do want to be and the things that I do want to do, like going with nature, being around art, you know, healthy eating habits, surrounding myself with new people. And I started meeting those people, and that was nice and rewarding. Cooking and appetite return. This is a big one for me. I just made a dinner. I'm still trying to eat it. I'm gonna eat it after I do this video. I started cooking in the kitchen more, and this is something that I never really did much, because I was just too lazy to do the processes of cooking. Um, and also other reasons that I never was into cooking. But now I actually just made 1 year in my apartment this week. Yay! Cue the applause. So I started cooking again. And even though I haven't exactly myself gone out in nature and spent time in nature the way I would have liked to, like, you know, doing picnics and shit like that, hiking or bike riding, I do want to do all of those things. I haven't really found the time to yet, or maybe the courage to go do those things myself. Um, but I find that cooking has kind of made me feel more connected to nature. You know, actually, like, I had this realization while peeling garlic, literally, because like peeling garlic is so fucking annoying and tedious. But I was locked in. I'm like locked in peeling this garlic, and I'm like peeling like a whole mad garlic, and I'm I'm realizing like, yo, like, the food is nature, and I felt so good with putting the food in my body, like knowing every ingredient in it. And that was very rewarding to me. That felt like me connecting with nature in my own way. Appetite return. I'm hungry as hell now all the time. My appetite has completely returned. I don't need anything to eat. Like, I don't need to smoke to eat anymore. I be hungry, and when I be hungry, I be gotta eat. Like, you feel me? Like, yeah, I need to eat something or I'm gonna get hangry. And there's nothing that I'm using to compensate to I'm not doing anything like, oh, I'm gonna smoke and then now I'm not hungry anymore. I'm not doing anything to cancel out my hunger. I'm trying to gain weight. My goal weight is like 120. I want to see what 120 looks like on me. So I'm eating now like 2 or 3 times a day, but good meals. And I know that in order for me to gain weight, I probably should eat a little bit more than that, you know, snacking in between and stuff like that. But eating snacks, like those little fidgety snacks that I was talking about, eating fruits and stuff has really helped just like kind of stretch out my stomach. And when I'm hungry now, I don't ignore it. Okay. Like, I know that probably there's people watching this that maybe don't want that because they smoke weed and they want to lose weight. And I don't really know. I can't relate to that. So I don't exactly know how what differences that might make for you, right? Like, or how that'll affect you if you decide to quit. I don't know. But for me personally, you know, everybody thinks like, oh, well, you smoke weed, so you must have the munchies all the time. So when you quit the weed, then you're not gonna eat anymore. That's not true. When you smoke weed every day for years, you don't get the munchies no more. You get the dependencies where you're like, I need to smoke to eat, and then you're not eating more than normal. You know what I mean? That's only for the people who don't get high every day and now they're suddenly high. Then they get the hee hee ha 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 ha, I'm so hungry, hee hee, chips and potato chips. And that shit is not a thing for everybody, for fucking stoners, all right? If you're like, ask a real stoner who smokes every single day for an extended period of time if they get the fucking munchies, bro. That we don't get that shit. So, my appetite returned tenfold. I struggled for the longest to even be at like 102 or 103 pounds, and I weighed in at 112 pounds today. Wow, cue the applause. So I gained like 10 healthy pounds of food that I cook myself. Um, And I'm still eating. I'm still gonna eat, boo boo. I'm gonna finish my plate, and then I'm gonna wake up in the morning and I'm gonna fry myself some eggs with my leftover rice, and it's gonna be delicious. And I'm gonna be so happy to eat. So, appetite return. Applause, applause. Hopes for the future. This is my last point. I don't know how long this video is. This shit is probably like already an hour long. I told y'all it was gonna be long, but I hope that everything has been valuable in this video. So this is my last note, okay? Hopes for the future. What do I want, right? From this. I'm a month in now, and now people are asking me like, "Oh, okay, so how long are you going to do this for? Like, how long are you taking a break?" And it's just like, ugh, like I really don't want to consider this to be a break, because a tolerance break implies that I'm doing this so that when I smoke again, I could be high again, or I get refreshed highness. And that's not why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it for that. I don't have a deadline here. It wasn't like I'm gonna quit for 30 days and then on the 30th day I'm gonna smoke again. No, that wasn't the case. I want to pass a piss test. Like, I think I took a drug test at home $3 store drug test on my 5th day, day 5, knowing very well that it was going to come out positive. I already knew, but I wanted to visualize. I wanted to actually see that I failed a drug test. You know what I mean? Because I never had a drug test before. So I wanted to visually see that I failed it. And I'm actually going to go get another one of those really soon. Maybe tomorrow. It's probably going to come out positive again too still, because I heard that it takes like 2 months to really completely leave your system if you're an everyday smoker like I was. I want to pass a piss test. Like, the day that I pass a drug test, I'm gonna be so like, I just feel like proud is an understatement. I don't even know the term for that. I think I'm gonna be in shock and awe, because that's something that I really never thought I could do. And I don't know if I'm gonna smoke again after that. Like, imagine I finally come up with a negative drug test, and then I'm like, ha 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 ha, yeah, let me smoke. Like, that would just be dumb as fuck. I don't know how long I'm gonna do this for. Okay. I do want to gain weight. I do want to start working out. This is like a really tough one for me. I have discipline issues with like routine, and I have a hard time doing anything every day. Is this video still recording? Yeah. Okay. I have a hard time doing everything. I have a hard time doing anything every day at the same time. I'm not good with routines, even if it's in my fucking calendar. Certain things, if it's not about money, and if it's not about money, or I'm not dealing with somebody else's time, I'm not that good about it, right? So I really want to be able to really strengthen my mind, body, and spirit connection. I feel like I've already got the mind part pretty all right. Definitely tapped in with the spirit, but my body part, I'm not all the way there yet. I don't really stretch as much as I'd like to. I'm not working out the way I want to. I enjoy doing cardio type shit for like therapeutic reasons, but I don't need cardio. Like, I'm trying to gain weight, so I really shouldn't be doing things like jogging or jumping rope, which I find to be super therapeutic. I really shouldn't be doing that. I need to start lifting weights or doing body exercises, resistance training. So I want to strengthen my connection with those 3 things: mind, body, spirit, all encompassing. Quitting nicotine and alcohol. This is something that I'm not super hard on right now, because I've never had issues with super being addicted to the nicotine. I do smoke it at night, and I do be wanting to smoke it at night every day, but I feel like I could quit that if I really wanted to, and I'm just not right there right now yet, but I will be soon. Alcohol, I've also never been an alcoholic. I'll never be an alcoholic, but I do drink. I'm in my 20s. I'm having a Angry Orchard cider right now. And I know how to drink in moderation, right? Like, I might have a drink on Friday night. I might have a drink, like, a beer at a bar with my friends. But I'm pretty good with moderation. I would really love to see what it would be like to be totally substanceless, right? Like, no nicotine, no weed, no alcohol for an extended amount of time. That would be a real crazy challenge. One thing at a time for me, bro. Like, I'm not finna do all that quite yet, but I would love to do that one day in the future. Will I smoke again? Probably. Like, eventually, yeah. I'm definitely gonna hit the joint again one day. But I don't know when that'll be. I'm not looking for it. I'm not waiting for it. I'm not looking forward to it necessarily. That won't be until I'm completely good with who I am, not smoking weed, until I know for certain that I won't pick it up as an everyday habit again, because I don't want that. That's what I don't want. I might smoke weed again one day, but with the same energy that I'll do something like, well, I'm not going to say that in the video. Only for certain very specific occasions will I want to smoke weed. You know what I mean? And I want to be knowing that I'm good, that I'm not going to have any responsibilities. I don't want to smoke weed every day off the wake up. I don't want to ever become dependent on the weed to sleep or to eat again. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. I don't want that. Not even gummies, not even the weed pen, not even the dabs. I don't ever want to become dependent on it. I want it to be something that I can do socially. And by socially, I don't even mean every time I'm with people or every Friday and Saturday. I don't mean that either. Like, very specific occasions where I'll ceremoniously smoke. That's what I want. I'm really proud of, where I'm at. I feel like I've inspired a lot of people. Sorry, when I lean over like that, it's because I'm making sure this shit is still recording. Because one time I recorded a whole last video and the whole fucking shit stopped recording. People have been telling me that I've been inspiring them with this. I was vlogging about it on my Instagram stories for the first couple days. And I felt bad a little bit because I felt like I was making people feel convicted. And like I said, and I want to repeat this, I want to reiterate this. By no means do I think that weed or marijuana, cannabis, ganja, zaza is bad, right? I don't think that. It's how you perceive it and your relationship that you have with it that can become detrimental, okay? So I don't want anybody to feel convicted by anything I'm saying, or when I do go and talk about that, even though I know that people be feeling convicted because they're not ready to let it go yet, because it's scary and it's overwhelming to break a habit like that. I know that I'm inspiring people because if I can do it, you can do it. If I can quit, you can quit. And like I said, there were people on YouTube that were talking about it, but I just didn't feel like they were speaking the same language as me. So I really hope that with this video, even if I don't know you at all in real life, if I've never met you before, I hope that you can hear where I'm coming from and know that we are one and the same. Like, we are, even though we might not live the exact same life, like, bro, I'm telling you, if I could do it, you could do it. I'd be outside with them, the hood, and you feel me, and the artists and the creatives and in the recording studio and every other where that these freaking stoner people be, and they be open and loud and proud about it. I have dreadlocks, you feel me? Like, they be open and loud and proud about smoking weed. Okay, this was a decision that I made for myself, that I had to fully know that this is a me thing, and like I said, so if I can do it, you can do it, bro. You can do it. Okay, like, I don't know how else to say that. If you want it, you can do it. And if you're watching this video right now, it's because you've already felt like this. You've been feeling like this, like, deep down you're probably feeling similarly to the way that I said I felt, where I was just like, I don't want to be stuck on this, spending all my money on this. I didn't even talk about the fucking spending of the money in chapter 1, like the fact that it costs money that I could be using for other shit. Back to square one. Yeah, spending money on weed, like, you know what I mean? Like, all that shit, you can get past it, bro. You can do it, bro. I fully believe in you. Like, I believe in you because we're all in the same. And if I believe in me, then I believe in you. And for everybody who was telling me, I'm so proud of you, I believe in you, you can do this, speak that way about yourself and feel that way about yourself. Seriously. Because I'm not no different or no any more special than you are. Okay? And if anybody has anything they want to talk about with me, any experiences they had, any weird things, ways that they can relate, or if you're quitting and you need somebody to talk to about it because all your friends are dodos right now and they're not ready, they don't have the capacity for this shit, comment in the video. Comment on this video. I will read every comment. I will respond to every comment. If you don't want to comment in the video publicly, DM me on Instagram. My Instagram is KLion. Okay, I don't even promote, like, I don't really be trying to get this Instagram with the YouTube mixed up, because this YouTube, like, I really didn't want to make this about me and my life necessarily. This is really like, this YouTube is supposed to be bigger than me. And I don't know, I haven't exactly figured out how to articulate that, but this is supposed to be bigger than me. It's not a KLion show, okay? But if you need somebody to talk to, please DM me on Instagram and we could talk about it. I will not ignore your message. I'm looking forward to hearing everybody's testimonies, everybody's experiences, about anybody's journey. If there's anything that you want me to touch on in my next video, because I think I'm gonna do an update video again for 2 months. So that's another 30 days from now. Let me know. I'll talk about it. Any questions that you have, maybe I'll even make a video sooner, like a part 2 to this. And I just want to say thank you, guys. Thank you to everybody who has encouraged me during this journey, who didn't make me feel like I was an oddball, or just gave me words of, strength, knowing that, reminding me that I can do this, and telling me that I'm an inspiration to y'all, and making me realize, like, I'm doing this not only for me, but to show other people that they can do it too. Because there was a lot of people that didn't never think that I would quit weed. Okay, I put so many people on their first blunt, on their first joint, ever since high school. All of my high school friends, I put everybody on their first weed. I used to sell weed. Nobody ever thought that they would see the day, or at least not so soon. So thank you to everybody, and I'm just so appreciative, and I don't know what else to say. I'm finna finish this food. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I'm here for you. And you can do it. I swear, nigga, you can do it. And I still got my Zaza pillow. All right. That's it. That's a wrap, folks. It's KLion. You could do whatever you put your mind to. Making sure I don't get my hair in my food. Whoa. And I love you. Good night.